Hello, and welcome. My name is MiniBetrayal, and this is Dyson's Sphere program. And we're starting off this episode by doing a little bit more fixing of power. The work we did last episode has definitely helped, but we're not quite there yet. We're not at 100% satisfaction. You can see all of those rings are yellow. So I'm throwing down a couple more of the thermal generators there. I need to use a little bit of foundation though, because that water is in the way inconveniently. So just craft a little bit of that. I'm not actually putting down like the steel foundation, just land filling it essentially. We've got that. Now the next problem is that even though we have a full belt of burnable stuff coming in, we're not, we're using all of it, so not all of those fuel generators are switched on. So we do have extra graphite here, so by making an extra splitter, feeding in both the oil and the graphite, and just routing this belt around the back there, my hope, at least, is that we'll effectively have 2 belts coming in. It'll work out as slightly less than 2 belts in the long run. But I'm hoping at least that will give us 100% satisfaction. And you can see there, we've got 100%. I don't know how long that will last. I don't know if that will last. But it's enough for now, I think. So, last episode we were setting up journeys to other planets. So that is what we're doing today. I'm having a quick look at the resources on each planet here. Now, unfortunately, we've got the tech now so we can see what resources there. Unfortunately, the planet closest to the sun, Arioth 1, doesn't have any silicon on it. And my initial plan was to go there, build a solar, a solar panel factory, and wrap up the planet in solar panels and get a nice amount of power that way. Conversely, the outer planet, Arioth 4, has all of the resources we need, but has kind of crap power generation. It has, I forget the numbers now, but certainly less than 100% on both solar and wind. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to that outer planet and set up that solar panel factory. The idea being is that even though I'm generating the solar panels themselves on that outer planet, I can then ship them over manually if necessary to the inner planet, and we'll get some power there. So on my way there, this is our first interplanetary jaunt, I think. Just having a look at the new symbols again and fly right by the planet as I do so. But we land on there eventually, have a quick look around, and go and mine some resources. So solar panels, they take silicon bars, copper bars, and circuits. Circuits themselves take copper bars and iron bars. So we've got 3 resources we need to worry about: silicon, iron, and copper. So I'm setting up miners here on the silicon, continuing with bits of research in the meantime. And once I've got sort of roughly where I want the belts there, I start throwing down some wind turbines. Now the wind on this planet is absolutely dreadful. Even with all of those wind turbines that I put down there, I can't actually stand in the power towers to charge my own suit, because that still kills the power. So I put down all of the wind turbines I've got, just spacing them out what I think to be at least relatively neatly, and then let my bots get to work. This is at least enough to stand and charge my own suit without killing the power. But of course we are well below power requirements. I'll try and throw in a couple of extra there just to charge my own suit up even faster. Now if I'm not standing in there with those extra wind turbines I put down, we actually have enough power to get the miners working, which is the important thing. I've just noticed, I don't remember if I fixed this, but one of those miners is not actually connected to a belt, so I will have to fix that next episode. Then we need to effectively smelt the raw silicon into silicon bars. Now that's smelted at an average rate of 1 per second. So on these Mark 1 belts, which carry 6 per second, we can have 6 machines. So I get that powered up, and I put in a little storage as a buffer. We'll see this kind of setup repeated multiple times on this planet. Just pulling everything it can off that belt, putting it onto another belt which side loads onto the primary belt. Okay, so that's silicon set up and done. Now I'm looking for a good place to find some copper, which is over in this direction. So I start taking power over here. It turns out I did not bring nearly enough of the power towers with me. I think I did craft a bunch, or at least start crafting a bunch towards the end of the last episode, but I cancelled them to make the thermal generators a bit faster and forgot to recraft them. So for now we're just building this without power, but it's exactly the same setup. We're just taking the copper out of the ground. Copper is also smelted at an average rate of 1 per second, so 6 smelters, or 2 rows of 3, and it'll be pretty much exactly the same setup, 3 on each side, that output onto belts on the outside. Those output belts will merge and then go into a buffer, exactly the same design as before. So yeah, you can see I'm making those here, and just tidying things up, put in the buffer, put in the sorters, put in the output belt for the buffer, and put in the output sorters. And I'll hook everything up there with the power poles, even though it's not connected yet to an actual power grid. If you put down the power poles, you'll at least see that the coverage is there, because things will start flashing red instead of flashing yellow. Okay, so this is me just double checking exactly what the solar panels and the electric circuits need. So iron and copper. So I tried to find a place with iron and copper relatively close to one another. There's not really a good place on the planet. I could use more of the copper that is going straight towards solar panels, but I decided to get a separate copper for that. So we've got 2 copper mines, 1 iron mine, and a silicon mine. So here's the iron. Again, exactly the same setup. We've got the miners coming out, 3 smelters on each side, smelting those into iron bars, merge, and buffer. So making a little bit of use of the copy sorters mod as well, just to help speed this up just a fraction. It's not a massive improvement in speed at this point. Those gains will come later in the series when we're building like proper big stuff. Okay, and then we've got the iron, we've got the copper coming up here. So because we're making circuits, I need the iron and the copper to be in the same place, hence that really long belt. And exactly the same setup again here, copper, smelters, buffer. Actually, no buffer on this one. I decided that because I'm already buffering copper elsewhere on the planet, in case I just need to pick up some bars, I don't need to do it here. So we've just got iron and copper coming straight together, and we'll have 4 machines apparently making circuits. Now, I don't think we need that many, but I've got them. So each machine makes 2 circuits per second, so we've got 8 circuits, but yeah, there's no point in making more than 3 though. I don't know why I put 4, because they're outputting onto a 6 per second belt. But yeah, I guess future-proofing, yeah, why not? Okay, and similarly we will buffer these. Okay, and I'll limit that chest as well. I have been meaning to limit the buffers as I go, but have actually forgotten a couple, I think. I forget if I buffered the iron one, and the copper bar buffer was also not limited. I do get to that later in the episode though. So now, while we get some belts put in to actually bring the iron over to where the copper is, just get a little bit more research to help improve the drone speed. My theory being that faster drones will mean that I can build faster, and connect those with more power poles. Again, not connected to the grid yet, but they are connected to each other. And same again over there. And then once I put this last one in, that should power up everything. Now, we don't have nearly enough power yet on this planet. So everything, I think that was about 25% I saw there, 26%, something like that, which is enough to keep it going just. So it's not a blackout, but it's not quick by any means. Okay, so now we've got our 3 things. We've got copper bars, we have silicon bars, and we have circuits, so I need to bring all of those together. Unfortunately, in doing that, I run out of belts, and I have a quick look at power and discover that I'm almost about to run out of power in my suit. So we need to head back to our home planet, Arioth 3, and go and pick up some more stuff. Okay, while I'm doing this, I might come back to this conversation, I'm not sure how long I've got here, but I'll have a quick discussion about the names of planets and stars. So, in a recent update to Dyson Sphere program, you can now change the name of celestial bodies. You can change star names, you can change planet names. So, as a perk for supporters of $5 a month or more on Patreon or Twitch, I will name new star systems that we go visit after you, so you can have entire solar systems named after you. Planets, however, I am going to sort of open them up to anyone. So if you have a suggestion for what we should name a planet, then if you leave it in the comment below, I will just pick the best ones that I like, and you can potentially get planets named after you that way. So I'm only going to do like 1 planet per episode. I tend to batch record these episodes in 2 or 3 at a time, so you might not see your chosen name come up for a couple of episodes, but if I like it, you'll have the planet named your choice. Common sense rules apply, nothing offensive or anything like that. And this time, the planet that I'm going to request names for is Arioth 4, the sort of cold, dead planet with no wind and no sun and no ocean that we are making our solar panels on. So if you have any suggestions, leave your suggestions in the comments below, and in a couple of episodes' time, I will pick the one I like best. Okay, so yeah, we're back here on our home planet. The home planet and home star, by the way, I am going to choose names for, because we'll be visiting them probably more than any other planet. I just feel as though that's a little bit fairer. Okay, so with this whole plan of making our innermost planet, currently called Arioth 1, our power planet, we need a way of getting that power to other planets. So I'm basically going through all of the researches here I need, just queuing up as much as I can to rush towards power, like interplanetary power distribution. So we will need yellow cubes for that at some point, so we're not going to get all the way. But I think I've basically queued up all of the researches I can at this point, not only because the queue is full, but also because we haven't made any yellow cubes yet. So that's the plan. Okay, so we picked up belts and started making some foundations. I did have a plan for foundations, but I forgot what they were. In any case, foundations are useful to have. On the journey, I am just going round and untagging nearby star systems. So, as kind of a side effect of one of the mods where the galaxy is smaller and more dense, smaller in size that is, I've got more stars, but as a side effect of that, a lot of star systems are closer than they would otherwise be, close enough to have that sort of automatic tagging applied. But also in the new update, you can like remove the automatic tagging. So I'm just doing that just to clear things up a little bit, so we don't have too many tags floating around the edge of the screen. So if and when we use a star system or a planet, we will re-tag it so we can see where it is. But yeah, I feel as though it makes things a little bit cleaner. Okay, back on Area 4, and I have virtually no power in my suit at this time. And this kind of lasts, because I don't really have a way of getting more power, especially not while my robots are building things, and while I'm building things as well. So it takes a little bit of time here for us to just fill in this belt. I think this is a silicon belt. It's either silicon or computer chips. Oh no, I think this is computer chips actually. Yeah, because the iron is going sort of towards the bottom of the screen there. That's where the chips are made, and now we're bringing them back up. And then I think that belt above that we're coming up to there, I think that one is the silicon belt. I guess we'll find out when we get to the other end of it. So yeah, lots of belts on this planet. Ideally, this kind of transportation across the planet will be done by planetary logistics, but we don't have that yet. I think that's queued up 1, 2, 3, 4, 6th in the research queue at the moment. So we will get it. I mean, we'll get everything eventually, but we will get there. Okay, so trying to steal some of the base's power by standing in the power towers there is kind of helping. But yes, also when we went back to Arioth 3, I think it was, our home planet, I picked up more stuff for more wind turbines. We've been crafting them as well, so pop them down. This should help with the power. Just a couple more handcrafted there, just to fill out the square. So I think that's a 10 by 7 square now, so we've got 70 of those wind turbines. But because the wind is so dreadful on this planet, it's still barely 10 megawatts. So our consumption demand hovers around 10 megawatts. So we're just about breaking even on the power, but it's a close thing. Okay, and as soon as I stand in there to steal power for myself, it shoots down to like 20%. But that's fine, because I'm not going to be doing that all the time. Okay, so now we need to get the copper over towards our sort of collected area where the silicon and the chips are coming in. So that's what we're doing there. A little bit more standing, just waiting for the drones to do stuff now. Not really a lot to say during this point. This is part of the reason why I've sped up the recording, so the longer boring bits like this don't take as long. The downside is, me sitting here doing the post commentary, I have to think of something to say. Otherwise you end up with long silences like that. Okay, so we've primarily got, well, we've sort of ghosted in the belts to get everything here. Now, the solar panels are made every 5 seconds. They take 6 of each bar and I think just 3 chips, but that's fine. So we've got about 6 of the copper and silicon bars. I'm not sure exactly. We should have 6 chips coming in as well, actually. But that means we should have enough to run 5 constructors making these. And they just go straight into a storage chest at the end there. So as soon as I get that hooked up to power, they'll switch on. Actually, no, they won't, because we don't actually yet have the chips delivered all the way. That belt is still sort of ghosted in. So at least it's powered up now. Oh yes, this is where I remembered that I hadn't limited the copper and iron chests. I think it's the copper and iron chests? Yeah, hadn't limited them, so I just put a little bit of a limit on the buffer because I don't really need to store a whole chest's worth. And then we go put in the rest of the belts. So that should now be solar panels for us. Okay. So I'm going to be using a lot of solar panels, so I make myself another storage here. A little bit of fiddling around trying to figure out where I want it. So I've tried to put one there, but it's too close. I tried putting one there 3 times apparently, but then that's too close, so I have to go back and put it where it actually was in the first place. And then use Mark 2 sorters to deliver from the first chest to the second. Necessary? Probably not, but it's there now. So we've got 2 small chests worth of solar panels buffered ready. And now with everything switched on, the power now isn't quite enough. So I'm actually going to put some solar panels down on this planet. The solar is a little better than the wind here, but not by a huge amount. So I'm just going to do a circuit around the equator, probably just a single circuit. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do on this planet for everything. But at the moment, the single circuit around the equator is going to be enough. And in fact, I'm not even going to go all the way around the equator because I ran out of time and I ran out of solar panels in the end. But you know, it's enough to keep the solar panels going. So next episode, we will probably have a trip over to Arioth 1, where we'll start actually making that into a power supply planet. But that is about that for this episode. So don't forget, leave your comments, leave your suggestions for what this planet should be called. And then in a couple of episodes' time, I will pick my favourite, and we will rename this planet. Again, I don't know exactly what's going to be put on this planet in the long run, but at the moment it's just making solar panels. So let me know what you think. And in the meantime, I will say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon.